Let's make some soap.
So I'm using a 90-10 ratio. I'm using 90% beef tallow and about 10% for the jojoba oil. And I want to do this because I want to keep the bar nourishing and moisturizing, yet I still want it to lather very well. The sodium hydroxide I am using is from DIY Chemicals, and I'll make sure to link that in the bottom. And we're going to measure it all out. All of my calculations are going to be put at the end so that you can screenshot them and use them yourself. One thing that I want to emphasize is that you always add your sodium hydroxide to the water, not vice versa, and make sure to always use gloves. If you have goggles or sunglasses or glasses, I highly suggest using them too, as if you get sodium hydroxide in your eyes, you could go blind. It's a really bad chemical. Once again, notice how I'm putting the sodium hydroxide into the water and stirring and not vice versa. And look at the steam coming off of it when I'm done stirring. It's extremely hot, so be careful. I'm going to temp it just to show you. It's almost 200 degrees right now, and I just mixed them together with cold water. So we're going to set it aside, and we're going to put a cloth over it, and we're going to make sure that our tallow is nicely melted, and we're going to measure our other ingredients. I will be putting a graph at the end for the fragrance oils and how much you should put in for this specific oil too. I'll also add a link for the fragrance. I actually use this on my dryer balls because it makes my laundry smell really good as well. I like to add 2 tablespoons of honey to my soaps because I feel like it's just wonderful to have in it. And when I'm done doing this, I'm going to check the temp on my tallow and then set that aside with the sodium hydroxide to cool. You want them to cool to about 97, 92 when you're working with them. And you want them to be almost the exact temperature as each other. So it's been about 35 minutes now, and we're going to add all of our ingredients together and mix them, and I'll show you how to put it together. We're going to blend up the oil just a little bit to start with, and then we're going to add our sodium hydroxide and water mixture. Now, be careful you're not splashing it. Pour it in first and then start blending. This is what it's going to look like when you first start blending it. It looks really cool, almost like a thin mayonnaise. Now I'm going to be adding in my turmeric, my honey, and my fragrance oil. So as we're mixing this all up, we want to bring it to trace, and all traces is when you're mixing it up and it starts to thicken. So if you were to bring a spatula into it or pull up the emulsion blender, it would be thick, almost like, not like a paste, but thick enough where you could drizzle it and it would stay on top of the batter, the soap batter. And don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen immediately, because sometimes it doesn't. You just got to sit there and be more persistent. The more you blend, the thicker it will get. And once you get that thickness that you want, you're going to pour it into your molds. And I'm doing a smaller one as well because I like to use that for face soap for when I have breakouts around that time of the month. And it's really nice. It doesn't leave orange on your face, just to let you know, or on your body. A lot of people have asked me that question. Now that you have everything poured into your molds, this is the time to get a toothpick or something and make a design on top and add, if you're going to add flowers or anything, do that. And what I'm adding is dried jasmine flowers and the grape hyacinth that I dried and I picked in my last video. And after you're all finished, we're just going to set this up and put it in a nice cool area, and we're going to let it sit for 24 hours before we take it out of the mold tomorrow. Make sure to screenshot and save these recipes at the end so that you can print them out and keep them for yourself for future reference. Enjoy!